My name is Mcsporran. Well, my daughter was doing some work on it, and I took a look at the script, and I thought, oh man, there's a few things we need to look at here. So we got talking about it, and I had no intention of being involved in the actual movie. I was just trying to make a few corrections to some of the historic information, because I know a little bit about history. And the more we got into it, the more it seemed like you guys thought that I would be okay for the role of Rusty. So it seemed that it didn't seem like an audition to me. I was just trying to tell you what actually happened during this scene in the gold rush. But I guess that turned into an audition. I think they're extremely important in general, but in particular in Canada, because we get so swamped with the whole American attitude. And even a lot of the Canadian filmmakers who are working for the big studios are, they're bowled over by the whole American system. So any independent film is a move in the right direction, in my opinion. And the other thing about independent movies is you've got a whole, like your crew is not the usual white Canadian, crowd. So we got a whole diverse group of people doing various independent films. We've got First Nations filmmakers, we've got Indian, Chinese, of background and ancestry, and they would never get funding from Hollywood. So I think it's extremely important for the whole Canadian scene, as well as the international scene, to have a lot of independent productions. You see a guy called Rusty, or not called Rusty, but being a part of Rusty in just about every town in British Columbia. There's always somebody like that who knows everything about what's going on. And he might be wandering around the street doing wine tasting or whatever. In other words, drinking. But these guys are around and they know a lot. A lot of people think movie making is exciting, and it is in the overall result, but there's a lot of, it's like being in a war, you're waiting for long periods of boredom and then sheer terror when the cameras come on and you've actually got to do something. And it's sort of like, we had a pretty small crew. There were a few real professionals in that crew, others who were learning but were really enthusiastic and had lots of energy to do it. So it was a great crew. The actors, the same thing. There were professionals and there were learners, but everybody put their best foot forward and tried to do their best on it. The thing about the relationship to the land is, when you talk to First Nations people about their relationship to the land, it's very clear that that's tied in with various First Nations cultures around British Columbia. And it doesn't matter which culture you go to, the land is a key part of it. And for something to have happened on this particular piece of land, and for that to carry a spiritual meaning afterwards, like a curse as we depicted it in the movie, or any meaning that carries on through after that event, it lives on in memory. And that is completely tied to the land. So when you talk to, like these days there's a lot of discussion about First Nations land claims and sovereignty and territory and resources and all that kind of thing. But their main emphasis is the spiritual quality of their connection to the land. And that's what we tried to bring into this movie. Somebody trying to develop on a piece of land like that. Well, of course, you can go up to a beautiful bare site that's got trees and grass and it looks beautiful, and if you don't know what the history is, if you're not attuned to the spiritual feeling that's in the air around there, then you're going to be you missed the boat on that. And that's what this developer was doing. He just thought, great, we got a site here, let's do a development. And everybody around was saying, wait a minute, there's problems with that site. And that's what the movie was depicting, where those problems were coming out.